Hey guys, it's Niklas here from upgradeToLife.com, and in this video we are going to talk about the only sacrifice you are called upon to make. So there's one sacrifice that if you do that, if you get that, and if you're able to make the sacrifice, then you will definitely encounter your goals and move towards your goals. So in this video I want to explain to you why this is so important, what the sacrifice is, and then at the end you will exactly know how you can also do it. And before I jump in, just a quick side note: if you want to learn more on how to manifest your goals and really live self-empowered, then I highly recommend you check out the first link in the video description. It's my free masterclass, which is only 18 minutes long, and in there I give you a straight to the point talk, no woo-woo, no hype, no stuff on how to do all of that. So check this out if you want. And if you want to work with me, you can check out the second link, which leads you to an application where you can apply for a free 45-minute call with me to see if we are a good fit to work together in my program. And with that, let's talk about this sacrifice, okay? So let's look at some quotes from Neville Goddard, what he is telling us about the only sacrifice that we are called upon to make. And that's basically it. So he says, the only sacrifice you are called upon to make is to give up your present concept of self and appropriate the desire you want to express. So that's crucial, right? That is really, really powerful because, you know, he's not saying that the sacrifices you need to, I don't know, like forget your friends and family or forget your job and all of this nonsense. No, he only says the sacrifice is to give up our old state of consciousness and to attach us and to identify ourselves with this new state of consciousness. And he goes on and he says, disengage yourself from the whole vast belief that you formerly entertained and hold on in your imagination to the concept that you are the man or the woman that you want to be. For you will resurrect and make alive the state that began only as a concept. If you remain faithful to the concept, you will be led right into the fulfillment of that state. So there are some really important points in here. First of all, right, it all starts with disengaging ourselves from what we entertained right now, what is like no longer serving us. This goes hand in hand with the third fundamental of the law of assumption: self-observation, definition of aim, and detachment. I made a video on this, like the 3 fundamentals of the law of assumption. Check that out, it's really important. And that's like the important thing, right? We want to detach from this old state, from the old reactions, from the old beliefs and assumptions we have entertained and assumed to be true. And then we want to hold in imagination to this new internal state, to this new identity, to this new state of consciousness, that we are already that which we want to be and already have that which we want to have. And the awesome thing is that we will resurrect and make alive the state that we occupy, because you need to understand that your consciousness, your awareness of being, is the resurrecting power within you. It resurrects and makes alive that which you are aware of. Simple, right? If you're aware of poverty, guess what's going to be resurrected in your world? If you're aware of abundance and having plenty, then guess what's being reflected and manifested in your world? Right? Your awareness, your consciousness always gives you that which you are conscious of being, which state you claim to be true. So if you shift into the state of already being what you want to be and being and having what you want to have, this is what your consciousness automatically will resurrect and manifest for you. And you and your consciousness, you and your father, like Neville says, are one. Right? It is your true self, which I also made a video on who you really are. If you want to learn more about that, check out this video that I did. But that's the sacrifice, right? The sacrifice is we have to give up the old, basically, the old internal state. It's not that you have to give up on your look or any external thing. It is to give up on this internal identity. And then Neville goes on and he says, I'm not speaking about some little magical thing where you can wave a wand and your desire will suddenly appear. This law is based upon a principle. If you want something, you can have it, but you must be willing to give up what you are now in order to be what you want to be. Because remember, guys, the version of you now is not the same version of you that has the goals or that is experiencing like the lifestyle, the circumstances that you want to experience. Those are two different internal settings, two different internal identities and states of consciousness. There's one where you want it and not have it, and you look over there, and there is this state where you already have that. And so our mission, our aim obviously is to shift internally, to already be that, to already have that, to already embody that, right? And like Neville said, we can do that by imagining that we are already that. Man wants other things than those he has, but if you remain in one state, you will forever have to suffer to the consequences of not being in another state. If I remain in a state of poverty, I must suffer the consequences of not being in a state of wealth. So I must learn the art of dying, right? And don't be shocked, we're not talking about actually like physical death kind of stuff, but we're talking about the art of dying to an old state of being, dying to an old internal state, dying and getting rid and letting go and like detaching and disengaging from an old state. That is the art of dying, right? And people all the time, they want this new thing, or they want this relationship, or they want more wealth and all of this, but they will experience only the consequences and circumstances based on the state that they're in. And again, if they're in a lack state, but they want poverty, they will still only get the consequences of this lack state. So we have to learn this art of dying, how Neville's calling it, which is, in my opinion, really great way to talk about that. So we die to the old state and we make alive this new state. So if we increase the intensity in the center of imagining, we will create greater and greater things. So I dream and I must die to what I am now in order to live to what I want to be. Right? Just as I explained to you before. You cannot take any part of the old man into the new man. So this is why Neville always says, like, dying to the old man. You die to your former self. You die to this version of you that don't has the goal, that wants it, that desires it, that needs it. And you start to live and resurrect this new man, right, where you have the goal. By imagining something that implies you have it. By using any kind of technique that helps you to internally shift that state. Right? It's all about where you stand internally, because the outside has to follow. The mirror has to shift back your internal state. And here's the explanation. Okay, I want to give you some of my words on this too. First of all, shifting. Right? When we talk about shifting into a new state, think about rooms and don't think linear. Right? Life actually is not linear. For our human mind, yes, it is. We experience this, and then we think that there is time, and we think about all of that, and we experience those bridges. But for imagination, for consciousness, for our true self, there is no such thing as time and all of that. Everything is already there and here and ready and fulfilled right now. Because if you can imagine it, it's already there, it's already done. Which means if there would be no three-dimensional world, everything we would imagine would instantly like just be there, because we are where we are in imagination. So if internally you are in the new state, then you are there. It's just that the external world is like, the 3D world is like slower. Time beats slow, like Neville says in this world. And things take a little time. Things take like an unfolding, but that's okay as long as you remain your internal state. So it's not linear, right? And think of rooms. Neville had this great quote, which I have in the video, called Infinite States, which you can check out here, where he talks about that basically you can imagine like consciousness, like the house of God with infinite rooms, and each room basically represents like one state of consciousness, but they're all already there. They're already ready. And you just select them, you choose them. So it's not linear. Think in rooms. And we take on everything connected to the state we shift into, because the state is complete. In this state, we have the thoughts that we want to have, we have the emotions that we want to have, we have the, like we do normally, the actions that we do, and we have the results that we want to have. A state is like complete in itself. It includes all the plots and traumas. That is why we only have to focus on shifting into already being that. Right? Watch the video that I linked before. It's called Infinite States. So you don't have to manifest one by one and make this first. This needs to happen, then this, then this, and this. This is always how your mind is going to tell you that this works, but that's not true. That's not really the process that you should follow. You should go straight to the end, as Neville always said. And the great thing is that, like I said before, and like you also learn more about in the masterclass, is that your thoughts, your beliefs, your worldview, your paradigm, everything basically has its birth, has its arising from your state. It's like the state is like this core, and then you have like thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, actions, your reactions to life, the actions you do, the results you get, but it all starts with the state you occupy. This is why when people say, and now trigger warning, but when people say thoughts create reality, it's all about thoughts, flip your thoughts, only have positive thoughts, only think about your goal, that's not 100% true, right? It's true to some degree, thoughts play a role in that, but I can think right now of like, I don't know, a plane crashing in my garden. Okay, it's not going to happen, right? So there's more to it. Don't only think that thoughts create reality, okay? And this is also not Neville's teachings. So if you have someone that teaches thoughts create reality, that's okay. Let them do their thing. If it resonates with you, do it. But this does not resonate with me. I haven't proved it that thoughts create reality because I think 100 thoughts, 1,000 thoughts a day. So I don't think that. I think imagination creates reality and like the state you occupy the continuous basis. So in our old, this is important, guys, in our old state of consciousness, we are not the person that has the fulfilled desire. So in order to experience the fulfilled desire, we have to move into the new state of consciousness, the state of the wish fulfilled. Right? I have a video called The State of the Wish Fulfilled, which if you don't know about this, check it out. If you do already, perfect. But that's important, right? In this old version of us, we don't have it. In the new, we have it. So we have to, the sacrifice we have to make is to give up of this old version of us that does not have it. And we basically shift into a new state by imagining a scene that implies that we are already the person we want to be. That's at least the easiest, most basic, most fundamental way to do that. And in my opinion, a really powerful one, by the way. And this is just to sum up the video, how this looks like. So you have two options. Option one is that you can think of your desired circumstances and of your desired state, right? Or option two is that you think from it. And this happens automatically when you shift into it, right? You can, if you think of this state and of this reality and of your goals, means you are in the old state and you think, oh, this would be great. Oh, it would be so awesome if I have this. It would be so great if I could only manifest that. But that just tells us that you are in this old state. However, if you do the shift, right, and you start to think from this new state, meaning you are in that state, and this is what your life reflects back to you, right? Your circumstances evolve and mold around mold around your internal state, your state of consciousness, your identity, your concept that you hold to be true of yourself. You can read all of Neville's books. You can be in this community for a long time, and you will then discover that this is the truth and that you don't need so much surface level stuff and the news technique, the news video, and all of this stuff, because at the end, this is the truth, and this is what Neville wanted to tell us during all of his lectures, right? So make it simple. You don't have to go through all of the ups and downs that I went through to discover this truth. Make it easy and just apply it that way. So that's the only sacrifice you're called upon to make. If you're ready, perfect, you're good to go to experience your goals. If you struggle, then that's maybe why, because you don't make the sacrifice, right? So thank you really much for watching, guys. If you have any comments or questions, just leave this down below, and I talk to you in the next video. Thank you very much, guys.